Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I think we're going to go over the flaws that bring Animal Crossing New Horizons down to the level of being the worst mainline Animal Crossing game. Yeah, so it's pretty cold. This is literally snow. So let's just get out of here. Okay, so my biggest issue with the game is the dialogue of the villagers. It's terrible compared to the other games. New Leaf and Wild World just did it so much better. The characters had personality and there was almost kind of unique dialogue to them, and you really felt connected, whether it's not as much of a thing in New Horizons, just because of how they're written. Like, jock villagers will just go on and on about, like, working out and how many laps of the island they've done and that they can lift a house with one arm. And they did do that in the previous games, but nowhere to this extent. And they had other dialogue that, like, oh, I was hanging out with da-da-da, or, oh, like, and there was, like, questions. They'd be like, oh, who do you think's the strongest in the town? So, and like, they just don't have that. They don't have the same flow and the same feel. Like, I want to get Lucky for my town, because I had him in my New Leaf town and I got really attached to him. But I have Drago in my town, and why would I get Lucky when I already have Drago, who will say the exact same things? And there was an issue with, if you had two of the same personality types in your village, you would hear the same dialogue, like, at the same time as, like, you just speak to Lucky and then you go speak to Cobb and they'll say the same thing. But nowhere, like, to the same extent, and you felt connected to one. You'd feel connected to both of them. But now it's just not the same, which I think is kind of a big mistake in the Animal Crossing developers' like foray of making the game, because that was one of the main things that made me stay playing New Leaf for like the 7 years I was playing it. So I don't know. There's a great video by Big O Reviews that I will link up in this corner here. And check that out when the video's over, because honestly it explains it way better than I did. So, moving on. The soundtrack really sucks in this game, okay? So, it's bad compared to all of the other games. And I don't know, it's getting a little warm in here. How about we get out of here and go talk out in the nice weather? Right, we're out the studio now, so this Animal Crossing music, I just don't think it's as good as the other games have been, you know? It's just not as good of a soundtrack. It doesn't give you that feel, it's just, it feels machined, not organic. And I don't think that's because of the developers, I think it's because of how the soundtrack was made. It's been different to all the other games and how they've been produced. So with it being like that, the soundtrack's feel changes, which doesn't make much of a sense to everyone's ears compared to the slow, relaxing vibes of Wild World and New Horizons, they're not the same relaxing feel. They're different. So let's just let's go back to the studio then. Now we're back in the warm, we can just bump right into our next topic, and that is there's just too much busy work in the game. Like, there really is. I wish that there was more relaxing gameplay, wherever now there's just a lot of, okay, go here, do this. Like, go catch 12 salmon because you'll get some arbitrary Nookmiles that you can use to buy, like, hairstyles or something from, like, this counter that used to be a dispenser of money or whatever. And it's, it frustrates me because that is the gameplay that they've doubled down on this time round. Like, we had, like, cat tokens in the Welcome Amiibo update to New Leaf, and I never really touched them because they'd always be like, oh, you gotta do this, this, and this, and it's like, it was supposed to reward you as you were just doing random things around your town, but I found it was just, I never got any because I was doing other things. But now with Nookmiles, it seems like that is the main focus of the game on what you have to do, which is weird to me because the relaxing gameplay is part of the big draw of the series. It makes you stop and enjoy the seasons and the time of how things were in the village. But now I'm too busy going off to plant 12 trees and selling through for so many bells so I can get these Nookmiles, and I just don't think that's where the series should have gone with it. But I guess it's here now. But that's not the biggest issue. It's that they don't have enough of the relaxing gameplay to substitute the busy work that comes with the Nookmiles. So that's my biggest issue, to be honest. I mean, that and the fact that there's just a lot of things missing, like in this relaxing gameplay. Because we're missing the observatory on the roof of the museum, and the reset centre, and Brewster's Cafe, which, I mean, all these things could be added back in at a later date. Say, like, an update that comes, like, in 2 days' time. This entire video is pointless. But that's something that could happen, and honestly, I think it's something that should happen, and come on, Nintendo, make this video irrelevant. But, whatever. So, we're also just, with them taking out all these things, they've just missed so many NPCs, like Dr. Shrunk, and Wendell the Walrus, and Brewster. It's not the same. And maybe Nintendo is just going to update all this, and the game will be again, you know? But that's me hoping. That's a wrap on this video, so subscribe and I'll see you in the next one, I guess. See you around.